Welcome to Talks with Jane. As a facilitator and moderator, I'm delighted to bring this series of short video interviews on different topics, where I speak to people who can bring the subject to life through their research, their knowledge and their experiences. Thanks for watching.
Hello and welcome to the 8th Talks with Jane in this series, and I'm delighted that today's talk is all about experience creation. And I do have the perfect person to open up this discussion. I have Heidi Legein from the Mice Guru. So Heidi, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Jane. Always a pleasure.
Well, this is great. We're going to have 15 minutes of discussing a really interesting topic. And I know you're one of these knowledge-hungry people that is always looking for the next thing. How can you learn more to be able to deliver better experiences through great connections? So I'm really looking forward to hearing a little bit more about what's been going on in your world. So maybe just to kick things off, tell us a bit about you and a bit about your role.
Well, thank you for the lovely words, first of all. I run a company called the Mice Guru, which is a DMC, so a destination management company here in Norway. And up until March, we were delivering live events for all types of mice projects, so incentive trips, conferences, product launches for international clients and global brands choosing Norway as their destination. And then since then, we've been redeveloping and recreating new experiences for the future, but also going deep diving into the virtual world. So that's basically a big change for us, but it's also very, very exciting.
Yeah. Now, I opened up with saying that you're knowledge hungry. And the second question I wanted to ask you about what's driving you. So, when you wake up in the morning, what's it that's getting you going?
Well, it's actually this feeling of let's do this, we can do this. I'm very passionate about what I do, about the event industry, about finding solutions. I'm a real problem solver in daily life as well. And I think that right now is a chance to develop new opportunities, to find new directions, to innovate, a chance that we don't necessarily always have when we're super busy just producing the events that are on the agenda. So I mean that the passion is very big, and then the odd person that believes in what I do occasionally tells me. And definitely lately, I've felt a great support from the online community. Like really the online community of event profs have been there for each other, supporting each other, using each other as a sounding board and testing out new things and collaborating on a whole different level. So that's also been a major inspiration and really a big motivation to keep going every day.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And suddenly when you're used to having face-to-face opportunities and then they're taken away, you now realize that these borders are being broken down, and it seems so much easier to get in contact with people, and people genuinely want to help. So there's these wonderful forums that you're very much active in, and all these different events that are going on that are inspiring. And if we want to have a kind of solution-focused mindset, then it's looking at all the information that's out there and how can we get that little bit closer to what we hope could maybe be an ever-evolving, changing world. And we can only do that with more community. Definitely can't do it on our own in our silos, can we? So when it comes to, oh, sorry, yeah, carry on.
No, I mean, it really is true that we're stronger together. We can achieve so much more together, and now we have the time, and we can reach out in whole different new ways and be there and create amazing teams of professionals with different backgrounds and different skills to be innovative and create a new offering.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're talking about creating new offerings, because we can get very much in our zone of this is what we've always done, and keep very much in our lane. But when you're looking at creating new offerings, are you coming up against any barriers to do that?
Yes, of course. There's always barriers. You cannot innovate without any barriers. You'll face a million different types of walls. But this is really not the time to have a status quo and keep everything as is and wait it out. It's simply not going to work. So for me, I'm really pushing for innovation and for redesigning our skills, upskilling, learning a lot, and continuing to move forward. But the biggest barrier, of course, is first of all the funding, like finances. How do we do that with a very reduced income and no live events happening? The money needs to come from somewhere, right? That's a big barrier, of course. And then there is the whole issue of knowledge and understanding. I mean, I could talk about this for an entire week, Jane. It's kind of like one of my pet peeves. How do we educate not only ourselves, but also our clients? We've always faced this also before. Just think of the value proposition of a DMC, a type of a company as I run. Many people don't understand what we actually deliver and offer, so it's always about getting that message out and showing the value and, you know, going against the misconceptions. So this has always been a part of our business, and now we're facing the same thing with a new offering. When you talk about virtual and hybrid events and your clients have to ask the question, what is a virtual event? Or think of an online quiz or perhaps a Zoom meeting as being a virtual event, then you know you have a long way to go in educating the clients before they are actually ready to buy these types of services. So that's one thing. And then also, I mean, education goes both ways. It's also for us a big challenge to stay up to date. So we've now decided to go full on into certification and really studying the nit and grit of virtual and hybrid event production, which is a totally different story than producing live events in terms of process, project management. You need an entirely different team of people to make it work. So we've gone into that and we've really invested rather than sitting back. We've really worked very hard on developing those skills internally. So those would be the major barriers, I believe. Education on both ends, funding, and just getting through this period without immediate income.
Absolutely. No, it's really interesting to hear you talk about education and what can we be doing that really makes us experts in certain areas, because I think I speak a lot or work a lot with the association community, and so many associations suddenly were changing these really valuable events to a virtual event and everything that comes with that, and everybody learning new things at the same time. So there wasn't really a go-to. Whereas I suppose if the destinations can play more of a role in saying, okay, at the moment you might not be coming to our destination, but this is how we can help to make sure you're still having an impactful meeting and all the things that you're wanting to achieve by doing that. But we all need to be playing our part, don't we, to spreading the word, and of course also in the destination itself, because I'm sure, you know, working with other partners, they are certainly also needing to have more skills and understand where their strengths lie and be willing to open up and put their hand up if they know that they're not so strong in that area, and to recognize that. But do you see a change in the way a destination now collaborates, or can you share any insights from, I suppose, from March to now? How's the destination working together?
I do. It comes back to what you just said as an intro. They are a little bit behind now, to be honest. Most destinations are very much depending on state funding. Right, so many of them had to close down entire departments or change their approach, focus on local market, on different types of products, perhaps more on leisure than on the MICE business. So that's definitely been a challenge. And if you look at it from our perspective, I see that the roles are very different and really very much changing in such a way that we become more important external partners in keeping things going, like we are as a DMC, promoting Destination Norway like crazy, like perhaps even more than we used to before, where they would not necessarily have the funding for that at the moment to focus on the international market. And also, since we have been developing all these new types of experiences virtually and been educating ourselves, there's also more and more partners, destination CVBs like Norway, but also smaller regional destinations, and also other countries coming to us for advice, asking like, oh, we're seeing you doing pretty cool stuff. Like, we would like to do something like that. We don't really know how to start or where to start. So we've kind of we're slowly moving into a type of consultancy role when it comes to destination marketing and what can be done virtually instead of, waiting for travel to resume. I mean, we are creating destination experiences that can be implemented in a conference program, a summit, an internal education platform for a company that's looking to develop a proper virtual strategy now for the months ahead. And in the same time, we use those as teasers towards live events again in destination in the future. We're working on fully engaging virtual incentives over 2 days, 3 days that you can buy as a product, and where we include all of our local partners, hotels, venues, artists, and give them a job. We actually live stream experiences and engage the audience in the best possible way. So there's a lot we can do to keep pushing our destination forward. And I think this is very valuable and important work for the destination itself when they don't necessarily have the means to do it themselves or the knowledge to go into the virtual world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And also it's keeping, I suppose, the destination in people's minds as well. People want to return to destinations and want to get back to meeting again. But in the meantime, which could be for quite a long time, we need to be creating these great experiences. But I love the idea of having live engagement as well. And I was speaking to somebody else about different conferences, and if people aren't meeting in the same numbers, then also maybe there's the opportunity to get into medical institutions and see what's happening, get into a university and see students doing something. How can we build that bridge between people that are there in location and people who and it could be a much broader audience and larger audience as well that can perhaps engage from afar. So what do you think are, I don't know, if you were to say three positives that have happened, what would you share?
Well, first of all, definitely the stronger online relationships. Like beforehand, I've never had the time or any opportunity to reach out, to have a video chat with every single client, properly present what we can do, our concepts and ideas that we're creating. It's always so fast paced that there is no chance to do that. Even to make a phone call is sometimes already a big challenge. So these days are very much different. You get to know your clients on a different level, on a much more personal level, and it becomes a much more person-to-person business, even more than before. So I really love that. And I love that there's so much more solidarity and a human approach to business. We're all trying to help ourselves, and we are trying to help each other in the same time to be successful, to get through it, to buy from each other, to include each other in teams, in business projects. So this has been really amazing for me. And also in terms of business development, there's also a lot more time to do new stuff, and you have to dare to be different, and you have to go into more crazy ideas, and I love being crazy. I mean, innovation is based on a bit of craziness, and you also need the mindset and the time to be able to do that, to create new concepts and come up with new ideas that might be really exciting for potential clients. So yeah, this is really been positive.
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. Well, I just think it's funny that we also met during lockdown. sometimes looking back, you think, how come we've never met before? But of course, when we attend different events, they're huge, they're enormous, everybody's booked up, and you think, why did we wait to say, oh, I'll see you at that event? When it's so much easier now. It does feel so much easier to grow your connections and get to know people in a different way like this, which I really appreciate. But I suppose on a personal note on your side, is there anything that you've changed in your routine or anything that you've bought during lockdown that's helped enhance your life?
That's a good question. We've been discussing routines since March as well, and routines have really, really changed. In the beginning, in the first couple of weeks, everybody was devastating, going to, the happy hour online gatherings with a glass of wine in hand, etc. Then we went into this whole craze of self-development and being active and sporty and etc. etc. But now I think we've found a better balance, at least I have, in terms of working hard on developing new things, but also having a community spirit, and motivating and engaging each other. So I've really started creating little small communities. An example would be Event Profs Walk, where I'm just basically motivating myself, but thankfully also motivating a lot of people around me in the industry to stay active, to go for walks outdoors. And it's perhaps a silly little thing, but it makes a very big difference when you are able to connect with people on a different level and just, have a breath of fresh air and a good walk. And then little micro tribes have also become very important, groups of people that really just stick together. We have several groups and chats going on where it is absolutely okay to share your frustrations, but also to come with new ideas and see what everybody thinks. So those things have become really part of my routine. And I have to say that I work very long hours, just like everybody. So we have very long days of staying connected. So it's in the spirit of the products that we're developing, it's definitely a much more virtual lifestyle as well for me now.
Absolutely. Well, don't stop doing it, because I love all the different activities you're doing. I definitely partake in the Event Profs Walk, and I even did a walk and dance the other evening, walking through the forest, dancing with my dog. Desperate measures. But anyway, maybe I should post that one. But thank you so much for your time, Heidi. I'm sure you've got a busy day ahead, but thanks for just spending 15 minutes sharing your thoughts, and we look forward to connecting more and more in the future.
Thank you very much for having me, Jane. See you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.